Ukraine is at a breaking point, as their fronts are falling left, right, and center. It's day 1339 of Russia's operation in Ukraine. Let's dive deeper. Starting from the Pokrovsk front. The end of the city has begun. The very strong resistance that was shown by Ukrainian armed forces has now been overcome by Russian forces. In the last couple of days, Ukraine lost their most important positions. As you know, ever since Russian forces launched their counterattack on the northeastern flank of Pokrovsk, they also intensified their attack on this pocket from every single section of the front. All the attacks are happening simultaneously, but now we will look at each section separately. Within the city itself, Russian forces started attacking from the highway that they previously gained foothold on. Their objective was to physically cut the Western Highway, as it was the last major route that Ukraine used to supply their garrison. So this started by Russian forces pushing Ukrainian forces from a couple of streets near the highway, and soon their fellow units launched an attack towards the entry. According to the next report, they were successful in pushing Ukrainian forces from the highway, and took this area under their control. In addition, the units that were advancing north from the highway managed to capture this area. Now, with Russian forces coming from all sides, Ukrainian defenses weakened. In the latest report, it was reported that Russian forces have captured around 40% of the city. And with Ukrainian positions compromised in few areas, soon Ukraine could lose the entire southern half of the city. Furthermore, their defenses are also failing on the eastern front of the city. In our previous report, we saw how Russian forces started developing Maryinka from three sides. In the last couple of days, Russian forces were able to capture these areas. We are receiving reports that Ukrainian forces have started the withdrawal. Now moving to Velika and Novosilka front. Russian forces continue to develop their offensive on Dnipro Oblast, and from the recent updates, it seems like they have great success. Their massive success came from the northern flank of this sector. You all know how Avdiivka is very important, as this would allow Russian forces to compromise Ukraine's rear. So understandably, Ukrainian forces, using geography to their advantage, were defending the settlement very strongly. A couple of weeks ago, we saw how Russian forces crossed the river from the south and entered the eastern part. Now, in the last couple of days, Russian forces launched an intense push on the town from several directions. As Ukrainian forces were very stretched, their defense could not hold, and the entire Avdiivka fell under Russian control. And with Filia falling a couple of days prior, Ukraine's rear is now vulnerable. And as you can see, Ukraine is currently in a very worse situation. Their defenses are literally failing across the entire front line. And with President Zelensky asking to freeze at the current front line, it further proves that Ukraine is at their breaking point. Russian sources expect one of these fronts to suffer critical collapse. Subscribe for more frontline updates. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.